Everyone, we are going to call the Southwest Deltona Community Redevelopment Agency meeting to order. May we have the roll call, please?
Member Vila Vasquez?
Present.
Member Bradford?
Present.
Member King?
Here.
Member McCool?
Here.
Member Sosa?
Here.
Member Ramos?
Present.
Member Hersberg?
Here. Okay, we are going to begin, according to my agenda, with the public forum. Anybody sign up for public comments for this?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, with seeing none, we'll close the public forum. Number 4A is the first item of business. The Southwest Deltona Community Redevelopment Area, the CRA Agency Annual Meeting and Review of the CRA 2021 Annual Financial Report. Mr. Peters, Mr. Mays, Mr. Paradise.
Mr. Paradise is coming up.
Madam Mayor, City Commission, otherwise known as the CRA Board today. We have our fearless CRA manager here, Mr. Mays, coming to address the CRA Board.
Did they get the PowerPoint downloaded?
I think so. Let me see if I can get it to run and drive. Are they having technical difficulties? Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
There we go. Just having the right thumb drive. All right. We're on board.
Thank you very much, Ron. Good evening. My
Good evening.
apologies for the technical difficulties. But this is the meeting in the first quarter of 2022 of the Southwest Deltona Community Redevelopment Area. Just a little history behind it, very, very quickly. CRA, of course, stands for Community Redevelopment Area. Deltona's CRA went into effect in 2016. It's funded by both the city and Volusia County under tax increment funding, a TIF. The long-term plan has always been for transportation and safety improvements. And the CRA will be shown to you very briefly in three parts: north, central, and south. North. This is the north end of the CRA. It goes from I-4 down Saxon to Tiffin, which means it crosses North Normandy, goes past Apache, and the next street is Tiffin. It includes Saxon and the North Normandy intersection, includes the North Normandy curve, commonly called Dead Man's Curve, as we tend to call it. Includes North Normandy, Deltona Boulevard intersection. And I ask you to note that North Normandy from Saxon Boulevard to Deltona Boulevard is a two-lane road. Second is a central, and it runs from Normandy and Deltona Boulevard down to the post office. Simply as a breaking off point there. There's no anything along that line other than the fact, now keep in mind, this is a four-lane road with a turn lane in the center. From the post office down to Dirksen is the next, the south end of it. Deltona Boulevard is a four-lane all the way to Enterprise Road, and at Enterprise Road it becomes a two-lane. Those are the three parts of the CRA, and we divide them so they're just easier to handle, figure out where we are. A little background, one of the things we've always looked at is the potential, the feasibility of making the roads within the CRA, that section of Deltona Boulevard from Dirksen up to Enterprise, and then that section of North Normandy from Deltona Boulevard intersection up to Saxon, 4 lanes, which would give us a 4-lane parallel to I-4, all the way from Dirksen, following up, all the way to Graves, intersecting with Howland. Someday down the road, hopefully not too awfully far, we're going to be into beyond Ultimate. And that means that the road I-4 will be under construction, and it will be, as it was in Orlando and still is, a terrible mess. This would give the people of Deltona an alternative to either going on I-4, fighting that traffic, staying internal to Deltona, or going across and going to Orange City and taking 1792, which the tremendous number of people will do. So it adds an extra area within the city, and that extra traffic, economic development-wise, will be a boon to all the businesses along those areas. The current base of the CRA master plan is based around transportation and safety improvements, being street lighting improvements, bus stop improvements, ADA sidewalks, safety improvements. The curve improvement on that section of North Normandy northbound section, that bad curve. Intersection improvements. That was on the PowerPoint North, and that would be the intersection of North Normandy and Deltona Boulevard. Expand North Normandy and Deltona Boulevard to 4 lanes. And finally, number G, economic infrastructure improvements as part of the CRA. Keeping in mind, without the actual redevelopment, the CRA will never function. We need those additional tax dollars, getting businesses in, getting properties fixed up, so that we will be able to earn the tax dollars from both the city and the county to go into the coffers to do the projects. The base CRA master plan, street lighting. The first project that was taken on, you can see the pictures there, is at Saxon and North Normandy, has been completed. It is better than it was. Just following along, coming up, lighting improvements for North Normandy Boulevard, from Deltona Boulevard up to Saxon Boulevard. Going to be going to 110-watt LEDs, up from a 40-watt LED. And you, ladies and gentlemen, you can see it there. I'm not going to read all the way through. We're going to upgrade the lights. Not all of them have to be changed out or anything else like that, but we're waiting on Duke to have an installation date, and they will update the city. From Saxon Boulevard to Finland, west to Apache, along that area, again, updating from 40 to 110, waiting on Duke Energy. Everything's based upon putting in higher wattage, which provide noticeable improvement in the illumination for people to be able to see. It does not require any construction at this point that we're looking at. In other words, there are sufficient light poles. We're changing the illumination within the existing light poles.
Jerry,
my apologies.
Jerry, can I jump in here?
Absolutely.
It's not just simply increasing the wattage of the bulb. Typically, within the heads of the light, there are reflectors. And there are at least 3 different types of reflectors. And because we have a higher wattage, we can go with a reflector that has what I call a horizontal throw. It throws the light along the road as opposed to the general area. And with that higher wattage, they can get more throws, so the existing light will be able to illuminate a larger section of the roadway. So when we talk about improved illumination, that includes replacement of the reflectors to that horizontal throw along with the higher wattage. I just wanted to, because when I first read it, my first thought was, oh, we're just going to create more complaints from too much light in people's front yards. But with the reflector, we changed the dynamics of that light.
May I ask a question, Mayor? Or member? These are not going to be the blue lights like we're seeing that, right? They're not going to be those purplish blue?
If I could, I'm going to ask Phyllis to come up and address the purple lights. She knows a little bit more
Because
about
I
that.
think I heard rumors that those were kind of done incorrectly.
Those are defective lights.
Yep,
Okay, that's what I heard that rumor, and I
I
wanted
kinda
to make
like 'em.
sure of that.
I like them.
We get a lot of flack when we see purple lights.
Yeah, I
I don't
called
know
it
if
the
I was the
pur-
only one, but I got a lot of flack on
Yeah.
those.
Called it the purple haze, if you will. But no, that is it.
I just said we're party town.
Yeah. Yeah, and Duke is making sure that none of their lights that they put in or replace on behalf of the city come from that stock, if you will. So that may be delaying some of the change out to some of the higher wattage bulbs, just to make sure they don't have any in their stock that are delaminating or came off of that run.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, may I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
I want to find out, does Duke Energy want anything from the city of Deltona? Do they want anything? Do they need anything? I'm just talking in terms of leverage, because we've heard this like before, when Duke has an installation date. I don't know, when is that? The end of the year, 6 months, 2 months? What is that?
I'm being told this summer.
The hope is this summer.
The hope is this summer.
So no day specific, I mean, I don't mean day, I mean, okay. All
It's
right.
still spring right now.
Yeah.
So, we can hope for better as it gets hotter during the year.
Madam Commissioner, one of the issues is some of these projects that we see a longer lead time are ones that require new poles. And especially if they're the aluminum poles, the market right now, if these poles are taking a year to 18 months to get delivered. So if you're talking about a brand-new pole and light, it will have a longer lead time. Because this involves replacement of the bulbs and the reflectors, it's a much shorter lead time.
Do we know how many poles need to be replaced, if any?
Phyllis?
At this time, unless we're looking at the intersections where we may find the need to actually add additional lights on poles, the existing light poles that are out there, those bulbs will just be swapped out for the higher wattage bulbs. It does require that Duke does an energy calculation, so it's not just a matter of, like I would go into my house and change a light bulb out to an LED and everything will work right. They have to make sure that the infrastructure will support that higher wattage through that entire carrier line, for lack of a better description. So we do have a couple of locations, the intersection of Normandy and Deltona Boulevard. I would expect when they start looking at that, there may be a need for 2 additional poles, as well as down at Deltona Boulevard and Enterprise. I already have an evaluation of that intersection, as well as the intersection down at Dirksen Doyle, Deltona Boulevard. And those 2 intersections have called for, I think, 2 poles additional at each one.
Additionally, there have been some internal discussions about adding lighting near the curve at the La Petite childcare, and so that will be part of an additional evaluation.
I'm trying to work with Duke and kind of break it into phases that are manageable for them as well as for installation on their part, so we can get this moving back on track in a more efficient, effective, and productive manner.
Phyllis, did I hear, Jerry, did I hear you say that there was some addition made on Saxon Boulevard in Normandy?
Yes, ma'am.
There was?
Yeah, after the fatal accident, I reached out to them. They installed 1 new fixture and a pole, and then they updated the existing lights out to 150-watt bulbs. At the intersections, 150 is a better illumination, so that's already been done.
So was it to make it lighter on Saxon Boulevard? Because that turn into Normandy, it's still pretty dark.
I'll bring that to their attention. It may mean that there needs to be maybe another fixture added in a different orientation, or maybe the fixture itself can be swiveled a little bit so you're getting illumination at the full intersection. I'll mention that to them.
Thank you.
One more question, Phyllis. Are these at these different locations where we're waiting for infrastructure and so on, are those circuits or are they individual lights? You know what I'm talking about? Is there a series of lights hooked together, they all come on at the same time?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, that's part of the problem.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm trying to break it into very manageable sections, so as we go along, if we can do reasonably 3 blocks at a time, then we do that, and we go on to the next, and that way it's not overwhelming to them, and it's not overwhelming that we're constantly repeating the same information, and it doesn't look like we're making any headway. I think that's counterproductive for everybody.
Okay.
Next item will be number B, the bus stop improvements. During the year, staff has requested bids and specs from various companies. We posted a request for that. We had one contractor bid that met the specs. Staff met on site with Votran, and we went to all the locations for the covered bus shelters and talked to them about ADA compliance. There are some major issues where the bus shelters are, sloping sidewalks, and the bus stops actually sitting on the sidewalks, where people have to walk around behind the sidewalk, off of the sidewalk to get past. We ordered surveys of all 5 of the sites, and we now have those surveys in, so they are being processed through by staff. And the goal of staff at this point that we are setting is we want to have 3 bus shelters in by the end of the 3rd quarter of this year. Once we can get through the surveys, get it taken care of to either move them some distance if need be, or tear out what we have there and put it in to meet ADA compliance as not leaning toward the street where someone in a wheelchair is on a slope rolling toward the street. We hope to be able to almost cookie cutter those 3 very quickly into it.
Can I ask a question, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Hey, who takes care of the maintenance of the garbage cans at the bus stops? Whose responsibility is that?
Madam, I have no idea at this point. I don't know that anyone actually is taking care of them, other than perhaps Waste Pro goes by on occasion and empties them out.
Okay.
I know that Parks and Rec has indicated either they or we will contract with a company that does maintenance and that type of thing for the city and utilize them in the future, so that it is an item taken care of, because they overflow.
And absolutely, it looks like crap. I have a couple of them in my district, and I'm sick of seeing them. I've emptied them one time and was grossed out. I'm like, this is not my job, but it's somebody's job. So my ask is that even in short term, that we have somebody in the next 2 weeks to take responsibility for doing that until we are provided with a long-term solution. Because Winn-Dixie Plaza is crappy enough going down, and then that intersection is a intersection that has been talked about, discussed, code enforced, whatever. That whole corner there, that bus stop is at Saxon and Normandy. And so that adds to the issue. We might not be able to make the plazas clean their stuff up, but we can empty the trash cans. So if we could get somebody to, take responsibility for that or ownership of that until we have a long-term solution. So I would like to request that be done and work on the long-term solution for that also. It's unsightly, to say the least.
Madam Commissioner, we will take care of that.
Thank you.
Jerry, I have a question. And I think the bus stop that the commission is referring to is on exit 111 next to Wendy's. I know I saw that little question look on your face about Normandy. So on Deltona Boulevard, being that we're discussing bus stops, I think it's right where the Dollar General is, before Diamond or
Right
after
in
that?
front of the daycare that used to be
Yes.
the nice little red brick building.
Correct. There is a bus stop across the street, and I think I discussed this with Mr. Peter once, and I have seen people getting off the bus on that corner. There is no bench, there is no traffic light, and I have found it to be a very dangerous crossing area, but I think that the street itself was repainted with the crossing lines, which makes it a little bit easier, but there's still nothing there to help people cross in a safe way, other than to run before the cars get there. Is there a plan for that specific bus stop?
Vice Mayor, you have spoken to me about this location previously, and the problem we have in this location is if you go to the south of where you're talking about, there's a significant vertical curve in the road, and it's very limited sight distance. In fact, if I had my druthers, we wouldn't even have a street intersection there. It's that tight, and certainly not enough time for a person to cross the road without shutting the road down. So we need to look at an opportunity to put a crosswalk and maybe even shift the bus shelter, because the bus shelter in front of the daycare is going to either have to be, more likely going to have to be relocated because it's on a severe slope. Short of getting land from the property owner behind it, it can be very difficult to reach ADA compliance. So there may be an opportunity to move the bus shelters up above at the top of the vertical curve, and that would be a safer location to handle crossing. So we are looking at it. It's a very difficult location.
Thank you.
Are we working with Votran to see what their realistic bus schedule is there? Are they going to keep it up? Are they going to cut it?
Not long ago, a bulletin email came out that Votran was cutting routes and everything along that line. So I spoke with Ron Paradise and Mr. Peters, and we both agreed that, yeah, it'd be a good idea to reach out to Votran. They will not be affecting, at this point, they said, affecting that route. So that is not one that will be affected.
Thank you.
Let's talk about sidewalks a little bit. ADA sidewalk repairs, safety improvements. There have been some repairs done. These are shots from Normandy Boulevard. I apologize for the smallness of the photographs, but I wanted to get all four of them on there. Some of the things that we're looking to do upcoming, currently under construction in funding from Sidewalk Fund to address specific identified ADA issues, intersection of Normandy Boulevard at Antilles, intersection of Normandy Boulevard at Merrimack, very much needed. And it just goes down, Normandy Boulevard at Deltona Boulevard, Normandy at Springfield Street, Normandy at Floyd Circle. Those improvements are estimated to be at $10,000, and the CRA will be issuing a purchase order on those very soon coming up. The curve improvement on the north side. This is not the one down by La Petite. This is the one on the north side that has caused a tremendous number of wrecks. The cost study was $40,000. Staff has held off on paying that $40,000 because, in truth, going to the next one, staff was able to pay $2,500 to TPO, and we looked at different intersection designs in the study. In the CRA report, and I'll state it here, in truth, due to the costs that continue to rise, it's not going to be feasible to do a roundabout or huge change at that intersection. With the very large costs coming up and the cost of houses, because we would have to do the taking of houses at either one of them, taking out the curve or taking area to do some type of intersection improvement, the cost is just going to be prohibitive to do those. So we're looking at this point, other options we might be able to do. Again, other options simply are, should the CRA board go to the commission? I think you know those folks. And say, we're going to need to fund this if we're going to make those improvements, because we're simply not going to have the multi-millions of dollars that will be needed to make these improvements. So we can do that, and again, it's always been on a pay-as-you-go. That's how we established the CRA. It's just that we're never going to get enough pay to make it go for this part of it. We can do a lot, but as it is, staff isn't really seeing a way to make all of this happen with just the CRA funds. Now, we have reached out to the county. County is willing to talk to us and start negotiating on using some of our funds and their funds, obviously, for this type of project, because that's what it's for.
Jerry,
Yes.
if I may, I want to go back to the D curve improvement. Is that curve the one off with, where the city had to put the metal
We
to
have a
avoid the
metal
cars
and
to-
wooden barrier to protect the houses that set below grade.
Okay, thank you.
And again, there are two curves in question, but this is the one that we have always talked about addressing. We have the one just south and west of Enterprise Road there at La Petite.
Keep going. I don't have an iPad. Completely dead, not charging, nothing. It's not working. I have nothing. Just keep doing it. No.
The last item I'll bring up is the economic infrastructure improvements as an add-on. It was number G. Right now, we have two areas within the CRA where we cannot do the redevelopment. We can't do new construction, that type of thing. One of them is down around the intersection of Deltona Boulevard and Enterprise Road. Working through code enforcement and owners who were willing, they demolished that building, took the tanks up, and it's sitting there ready for something to go on it as soon as sewer comes. We had Dunkin' Donuts looking at a location there. We've had other people look at a location. But until we get sewer within a reasonable distance of there, nothing's going to go into that intersection. The other one is up at Saxon and North Normandy, the area I described. We have a lot of vacant land up there. When I say a lot, okay, it's not like it's the Portland Industrial Park or the I-4 Logistics Park with hundreds of acres, but there's highly valuable developable land, especially on that north side of Saxon. Both on the east side, over to the Patchy side, and going all the way back down to Racetrack, and just a little bit further on the other side of Finland. The city's looking at it and saying, we're going to have to look at putting forth to the CRA board and the commission plans to put sewer in that area. And we've talked about this I've been with the city for 11 years, and we've been talking about it for 11 years. And we've had well over a dozen good developers look at that property and say, yeah, we want to do something there. Let us do our own study and figure out whether or not we can afford to put the sewer in. No, they couldn't. So nothing's happening there, other than we have people who are coming in right now, doing a lot of accumulation, picking up 2, 3, 4 lots, putting them together. So it will be ready. And most of the lots there, most of the houses there are rental properties. Very few, I don't know of any homesteaded property there, but I'm not going to say there aren't any.
Jerry,
So, yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry, excuse me. The Publix on Saxon Boulevard, that whole plaza, are they on sewer?
Yes, ma'am.
And across the street? Are
No,
they-
ma'am.
They're not. So it's just that one section on sewer?
That is correct. The Publix, the little strip area where H&R Block, Family Dollar is, the Wendy's, and the Halifax Health
They're all on sewer.
Care Now.
Madam
should be-
Vice President, Mayor, I'm sorry. Just to let you know, that is a private lift station. What we anticipate is that if we sewer that area, we will work an agreement where we will take over that lift station and upgrade it. But that is a private lift station that just serves that piece of property.
Well, that
So-
was my next question. Is there any possibility that we can connect to it? know-
That is our long-term plan. I mean, we believe that, if you were the property owner and you had the opportunity to get rid of the maintenance requirement for lift station, you'll probably jump on it. So we think that when we approach them about the idea of us taking it over, they will be receptive.
Thank you.
Can't you hook in there with Saxon Ridge? Saxon Ridge is on sewer, right? I mean, that's right behind it. And then how hard would it be to run a line across Saxon? I'm not going to belabor that, but I'm not going to get anything if we don't have sewer and commercial.
Madam Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Going across Saxon will require a boring under the road. Probably will be fairly deep because of other utilities in Saxon. But that is the option that we're looking at to provide the sewer in the area. I'm sure Jerry's going to talk about it here in a second, but we have gone through the preliminary design of this sewer system. It was paid for out of the Water and Sewer Fund, not the CRA. And we'll be coming back to you all for the final design scope of services for that sewer.
But that's for enterprise, right, that you're talking about? That project that you're looking at is for enterprise?
Right now, the county portion of the CRA cannot be used for utility purposes. They have reached out to us about the possibility of getting involved, and we're glad that the conversation is getting ready to ensue. But as of right now, most of the utility work would be out of the Water and Sewer Fund, not the CRA.
Commissioner Member McCool?
Thank you.
May I say something, Mayor?
Yeah, whenever, just go ahead. I don't have a board, so
I know,
whatever.
well, we're not, there's
Remember-
nothing on the board.
Member McCool, did
Yeah.
you, and then?
Okay,
Member
yeah, there's
Bradford.
no way, just so you know, Mayor, for us to.
You don't have a button either?
No.
No, okay.
So, question.
Dana's,
Oh, I thought she was done. Go
I'm a
ahead.
No, she didn't.
stepchild, baby. It's okay. I'm used to it. It's good. It's good.
I thought she said she was good, that's why I went
no,
on.
no, no, she's next. Sorry.
Just waiting patiently. Colloquially. Mr. Peters, how much, can I get an idea, can we get an idea, when we're talking about money, how much money for that project to sewer up that area, Mr. Peters, and your best engineering guesstimate?
A professional engineer's wild ass guess is the worst estimate you can get. So I would say, $1 million to $1.5 million total would be involved in this.
Okay, for which project? So I'm talking about that Saxon, Finland area and then the Enterprise area.
I'm
Two
talking
different
about the
things.
Saxon area. Enterprise area would require another lift station and both a force main and gravity sewer, so it will be probably in the order of $1 million also when it's all said and done.
And we don't have any creative financing for that?
Creative financing. I think the most creative financing we can hope for right now would be that the county would be willing to use the county portion of the CRA money to go toward utility work, because the reality, as Jerry has indicated, we have had a lot of interest in this area, both on Saxon and Deltona Boulevard. This is tax incremental financing. the reason I have always argued that CRA should pay for water and sewer is because when you put public water and sewer to property, the value shoots up. And that is what you need for tax incremental financing. So once the sewer is out there, I think we will see a very significant increase in the taxable values of those properties that will go toward paying off that. And so if the county is in fact willing to step up on that part of it, that could be the best, most creative financing we could do.
Well, and that's where I was headed to, in talking about ROI and investing in our city. I mean, we have our people banging their heads, right? There's businesses that want to come here. So it's like, my God, can we get here? We've been talking about this how long, right? And we're talking about $2.5 million standing between us and the growth of our city in those areas that we, are trying to prevent from blight, and we're trying to reimagine, redevelop Deltona. I'm just saying that the county, listen, being the largest municipality that we are, right, and the county should be a little more willing to help get creative with us in this respect. It's $2.5 million. I mean, I know that that's not chump change, but it's not unattainable either. That's my frustration. We're trying to grow and we're not getting help, I feel.
Member Bradford?
Couple questions. The house on Normandy and Saxon that sits up on the hill, does the city own that? Because I was told, okay, that's true then. I was told that that is a city-owned home, but we don't get access to that home until they die?
The city owns that particular house with a lifetime tenancy of the folks who are in the house. When they pass away, it cannot be sold, it cannot be inherited or anything else. It reverts fully back to the city, is what I have been told by the legal department over the years. I continue to watch that house and try and see who goes in and out of it, but I still see the same people.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I wasn't quite sure. I heard that, and I'm like, because, that's a great location, and I was assuming, and the house on Saxon and Finland on the corner, we own that as well. Is that another lifetime tenancy?
Which, I'm sorry.
There's a house on the corner of Saxon and Finland, across from the racetrack on the side there. So as you're coming up Finland on the right, I was told before too that we own that house on the corner.
I don't know that we do or don't on that one.
Well, the only reason I'm throwing that out there is because here's a couple parcels that would have been perfect parcels for us to, get a lift station on. So we can't do anything with the one on Saxon and Normandy until those people are no longer around, and why would we do it that way? Just curious. So now we can't do anything. What's lifetime tenancy?
As long as
that
they
means they're there
reside
till they're
in the
alive?
home. If they no longer reside in the home, then I have been told by former city attorney that yes, at that point, we could take the property back for full use of the property. But as long as the same folks are living in that house, they have the right of law to live in that house.
Madam Mayor, we will look into that matter and we will report back to the commission via email as to the actual status of the property. And we'll also look at the property at Tivoli.
Thank you. I had asked previously, years ago, for a list of city-owned parcels, or I guess that would kind of fall under that, like parcels and properties that the city owned. I don't know if we can actually get that because I probably asked for it 4 years ago. So it'd be nice to kind of have it. Just curious. Thank you.
Thank you. Quick question, if no one else has one. Jerry, what is our total summation of assets in the CRA? Is it the 701,831 that's on this paper?
I believe it is.
And that is only our portion, or is that the city and the county's portion together?
Unless I'm mistaken, that 701,831.28
Yes.
is the total TIF that the city has at this time.
Okay, so
With
when
city, county, that's what's in the fund.
So that's
Yeah.
the city and county's portion? So we're looking at a total of $700,000, that maximum that we have in the CRA to spend. for whatever project. Okay, thank you.
Which indicates, again, my statement that staff feels we cannot do these very large projects, road projects, based upon the amount of money we're getting right now. Again, if we put in the sewer, it's an investment, it's going to take this money. And perhaps we can get the county to come up and say, okay, yes, we understand why you want to do it. It'll be good for the county also. It'll be good for the Blue Springs BMAP and everything else going along those lines. So, yeah, there are a lot of reasons to do it from both the environmental and the economical side to put sewer into that area.
Madam Mayor, may I? Mm-hmm. And I would also, in talking about this, because listen, there has been a huge emphasis, and Jerry, you know this, we all know this, there's been a huge emphasis on the ecological ramifications of doing this. And how do we change that? I would like for us to talk about how we change that narrative when we ran on the platform, or some people did, so, you know, just say no to sewer, no forced sewer, da-da-da-da-da. And the narrative been that sewer is bad for us. And there are ecological studies that speak to that, okay? And now we're talking about the financial ramifications of this also. So I just want us to think about how we're changing that narrative and trying to grow sustainably as a city. There are distinct schools of thought on that, but we're not going to develop these areas until we make peace with that, you know? And I mean, Jerry, you just said that, you know? Yes?
I did. And when someone approaches the dais with those purported facts, perhaps they should be informed that the city has spent tens of millions of dollars in a new waste treatment facility and sewer lines, bring them to this city. We now have a multi-million-dollar straw project, to call it that, to take water from the river, okay, and pump it up to the Alexander facility. So we have a major rapid infiltration basin to feed Blue Springs. The city has done huge things environmentally, protecting the environment, okay? And the city we don't beat our own drum enough on that.
I agree with you 100% on that, sir. I do indeed. And perhaps that's part of the narrative that needs to be changed also, because we are moving forward in that direction. I just want us to continue to think about that. Thank you.
Madam Commissioner, if I can add on to that, as you all know, I have a little bit of background in this matter, but the Fisher wastewater plant did not provide the level of treatment that's currently required within the basin. The city has been in substantive conversation with Volusia County about sending the Fisher flow and ultimately this flow from the Deltona Boulevard area over to the plant in DeBerry, which does provide a higher level of treatment. So the amount of phosphorus and nitrogen in the effluent will be significantly improved. We just received word that the legislature has appropriated $500,000 toward that pipeline that would go to DeBerry. Still waiting the governor's signature, so it's not 100% locked, but the DEP has indicated, because it is a joint project between Deltona and DeBerry, because DeBerry had the Gemini Springs basin that would tie into this line, and the county, so it would be a three-party pipeline. DEP has indicated they're willing to put up as much as 50% of the funding for that pipeline. So this is all part of a comprehensive plan. Part of the reason we're able to look at this sewer lines on Saxon and Deltona Boulevard is because we know that project is coming down the pike, and we have a means of treating it at the proper level.
Okay. Members, any other questions? Go ahead, ma'am.
I have a question. I don't know if Jerry or John, but I know that the county has been very interested in the growth here in the city of Deltona. And my question is, with the Blue Springs BMAP, Saxon Boulevard being a county road, Enterprise being a county road, won't they be concerned to help the city to bring those two main roads up to par with the sewer system to save, the Blue Springs?
Candidly, I think the county's biggest problem on both of those roads is having the funding to pick the roads themselves. What I believe is going to happen, Madam Vice Mayor, is as the I-4 beyond Ultimate starts to materialize, that basin that's there around the Publix and the Saxon I-4 interchange had flooded before. Prior to coming to Deltona, I had a very substantive conversation based on a project I did at Altamont Springs, where we took surface water, treated it, and sent it to rapid infiltration basins to replenish the aquifer. The DOT is looking to do something similar to that at the Saxon interchange, which happens to go all the way down to Enterprise. So there's a real opportunity to deal with the stormwater as part of the I-4 beyond Ultimate. And so, we have a plan there. We've had conversations with the DOT, and that is my hope. It's the best route to deal with the drainage issue. In doing that surface water treatment and all that, we actually improve the water quality so it can go into rapid infiltration basins. So from an environmental standpoint, an aquifer replenishment standpoint, and the ability to widen the road and deal with that stormwater, it is the best way to move forward. So I fully expect that that will be a key part of the I-4 beyond Ultimate.
Thank you. And my last comment is that, and I think I have shared a few of those emails that have come to me from residents around the Deltona Boulevard area. They have noticed the improvements, some of the improvements that have already started on Deltona Boulevard. They're very excited with what has been done at the crossing to the post office. They also mentioned, how we have repainted the crossings on the roads. Somebody sent me a picture of the yellow crossing signs with the lights on it. So they're noticing the changes, and they just want us to continue improving and showing, that we are listening to them and working on what they're requesting. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, commissioners or board members, any other questions? You've got more, right? Okay.
I presented a PowerPoint. We went over the major areas on it, but there is also in your package a 5-page, the actual formal report that has to be sent to Volusia County so it can be sent to the state. So I will herein ask the CRA Board of Directors to approve this so I can send it out.
We need a motion to accept the Southwest Volusia Community Redevelopment Area Annual Financial Report to transmit this, commissioners.
Madam Mayor, I hereby make a motion to accept the Southwest Volusia Community Redevelopment Area 2021 Annual Financial Report and transmit the 2021 Annual Financial Report to the County of Volusia and the State Department of Economic Opportunity. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections of Scrivener's errors and the like.
Second.
Properly moved by Commissioner McCool, seconded by Vice Mayor Avila Vasquez. May we vote, please? Unanimous? Okay, perfect. Mr. Peters, any other items? Mr. Mays, does this conclude our...
No, ma'am.
Mr. Mays, you're good? Okay, this concludes our CRA board meeting. And members, we will adjourn this and take 10 minutes to go ahead and set up for our workshop. We are adjourned.